Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. So today I was reading in John chapter 20. Now this is a gospel account and it's a day, actually it's Easter Sunday. Jesus has been resurrected from the grave and Mary's been out there to basically do some things for his burial because his burial happened pretty rapidly with the Sabbath coming on. And she sees Jesus. And she mistakes him for the gardener. And then Jesus calls out her name. Verse 16, it says, Jesus said to her, Mary. And she turns and she says to him in Aramaic, Rabboni, which means teacher. Now, I want to just pause on that for a moment because it gave me pause. I like that passage. First of all, it causes some people to go a little haywire and say, but Mary knew Jesus so well, how could she confuse him for the gardener? Well, I got to tell you, as a guy who wears these, you take these off of me and you go into a pre-eyeglasses world where they were. And if he's not within 10 feet, I'm not going to know who he is either. So I don't know if Mary had vision issues or if it was twilight or early dawn or what it may have been. But just coming from my life, I suspect it was vision. I can't tell my wife if she's 30 feet away from me from someone else. So I'm always careful not to whistle unless I have my glasses on. But Jesus says to her, Mary. And I like that. Because there are times in our lives where we don't recognize God, but he still calls us. And I like that idea of God seeking us out, because I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if you're someone who's been walking with Jesus for decades or a lifetime, or someone relatively new to walking with Jesus, or maybe someone who didn't walk with him at all, but is just curious and interested in what I've got to say today about him. But regardless of who we are, God is interested in us. And I really like that. I really like that his interest in us is not as a blob. He calls Mary by her name. He's interested in her singularly, just like he is all of us. Now, granted, he knew her, but he knows all of us. He's God. And so I like the idea that while we may be curious about him, he certainly knows who we are. And he certainly seeks us out. And he certainly calls us by name. And then the question becomes, how do we respond? And I like the way that Mary responded. She responded in Aramaic, which is the familiar tongue of the day. But her response, more than just teacher, it was very personalized. It was my teacher. And this is the import of the Aramaic that she spoke to Jesus. My teacher. And so this jumps out at me just as much as Jesus knows my name jumps out at me. It jumps out at me because I recognize that the God who knows me, who knows all about me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I can't hide anything from him, still seeks me out and calls me by name. And my opportunity is to turn to him and to make him my teacher that I follow, to make him Lord of my life. And how I respond to Jesus makes all the difference in the world. And so where does this leave me today? Well, I want to know Jesus. I want to hear his voice. I want to recognize him, not simply a vision, but by knowing, hearing his call on my life, hearing his call on my name. And I want to make him the Lord of my life, my rabbi, the one that I follow, my teacher. I want him to be important to me, knowing how important I am to him. And that's your video thought today.